game in the end?
Yeah, it was. It's good we have an extra day to recover from that, but it was. I mean, we got through the game with 22 players that were able to play the game out, which is a really good sign. But as you'd expect, there's always a few boys pull up a bit sore, but hopefully the majority will be fine for this week.
And the Neefle guys got the minor premiership. Plenty of those guys in form too. So
yeah,
the squad's looking pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's terrific that our boys underneath under Reece Shaw and Nick Davis have been very good, playing good, strong, continuous footy for the year, and we feel as though there's a few boys in there that we can use if needed.
Good, had a chance to go through the video, I suppose, from Friday night. Now, John, what did you make of the game on the flex?
Our game?
Yeah.
Well, it was probably as I thought straight afterwards, was just two teams in good form having a red hot crack for 4 quarters, and a fantastic game. I don't think either team went back in any calculations as far as how they're playing, and it was a really good, strong head out. Couldn't have asked for more, really.
Moving forward, it's now down to percentages to make top 4. Is that something? I mean, you've got to go out there and boot as many goals as possible.
No, I've got to go out there and play well and win. I mean, that's always the number one priority for us. So that's what we'll try and do this week against a team that's been really strong, and particularly strong defensively. Carlton have been really hard to score against, and have got an enormous amount of young players now that are playing really good footy. So they're a really tough opponent. They beat Hawthorn on the weekend, and they're in good form. They've been in almost every game they've played, and so that's a real test for us.
How do you make sure that players don't actually start thinking about finals, or do you just know the sort of personalities that are there that they won't?
Well, I mean, we've been fortunate. We've been playing finals for a while, and obviously when you're playing finals for over the last few years, you get to a point where you're still, you're going to be participating, but you need to finish off the year strongly, and we're in that situation. So we've got some experienced boys that understand that it's important to put our best foot forward this week for a number of different reasons, primarily to be in the best possible shape that we can be in.
The Bulldogs did it from outside the top 4 last year. I mean, do you think that the way the finals are set up now, that does sort of lend itself more than ever now to that scenario?
To be honest, I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. It's always been, to this point, one foot in front of the other, and whether that's me as or our coaching group or our players. That's what we've been doing, and we'll probably reassess. We'll definitely reassess next week, depending upon where we end up, and we'll sit back and have a look at the results over the weekend. But most importantly, after we've played a pretty strong game against the Blues.
The week off before the finals, I mean, last year, did you feel that played a role in the momentum maybe that was lost, and how do you overcome that?
Well, I think if you're just talking about last year, I mean, it's one-off. Like, it was a one-off instance. It's hard to say that there's a trend in it unless it's happened over a number of years in anything that you look at. Last year, obviously, the Bulldogs were able to do it, and it worked well, but they still had to play 4 really tough, hard games, and that's not easy to do. So, regardless of whether you've had the week off or not, so it's a bit tough just looking at it in a one-off instant and getting a really strong opinion of it. What I do know, and what will stand the test of time, is that you need to play really good footy for a month, and we'd like to play good footy for 5 weeks.
Just having a week off, then a win, and then another week off. At that time of the year, you don't get much chance to build momentum with that sort of.
If you're finishing top 4, yeah. Well, we don't know. Last year we had a week off, then we lost, so we kept on playing. It's hard to say. I mean, last year those teams that did that end up losing, but once again, it's a bit hard to say in a one-off year. I'd still, no doubt, if you're going to have a choice, you'd finish top 4, and that's just the reality of it. And but to give ourselves any possible chance, we need to play well against a team that's really strong defensively.
How did you rate Kurt's game on the weekend?
Yeah, he was okay. I mean, he kicked the goal for us up forward. I thought his ruck work was pretty good. His follow-up work was pretty good. So it was sound. Those boys in the ruck have been pretty sound for us over the last couple of weeks, and we'd like to be able to see Sam Naismith train this week and see where he sits as well.
So would he be available this week?
Well, we're hoping that he gets through training this week. We're hoping that he does some training today, and and but does a full session for us on Thursday, and then we'll sit down and make that decision whether he plays this week or not. Our reserves have got a bye, so that's not ideal timing for that particular discussion, but we'll have that chat once we know what he's like at training on Thursday.
When he is right to come back, does it come down to a tough decision between those two players, or not necessarily?
Well, it's what happens at the start of the year is that everyone says number one ruckman, number two ruckman, and I've never subscribed to that at all. It's always about who's playing well at that particular point in time, and all three of those boys have played important roles for us this year, and I'm hoping that they've still got all three play an important role for us going forward this year as well. And what we need to do is, before we sort of make too many comments about it, is see how Sam trains this week and understand how they're going. But we've generally been pretty happy with how Kurt and Callum have been going as well.
John, you haven't been able to look up, I know, over the last few weeks, but now you actually are in the finals. I mean, how do you reflect on the achievement to date? I know the job's not done yet, but to come from 0-6 has never been done before to make the finals. I mean, how did what was the catalyst for that happening?
Oh, look, it's still difficult for me to look back in the revision mirror because there's still a fair bit of work to do this season. So it's still difficult for me to do that. It's I'm always reluctant to do that, and while we've got a job and a task at hand, but what our players have done, and particularly our leaders, in conjunction with our younger players, has given ourselves a chance and fought back really strongly, and that's been pleasing that we've got to the stage of one more game to go and we're still a chance, and that's always a positive and a great credit to the players.
How tough's the Carlton challenge, particularly after, I guess, round 6 as well?
Yeah, I mean they beat us quite well down there at the MCG. They played really good hard footy, and they are playing a really good brand of football. If you watch them play now, their young players are going at it really well, and they're hard to score against. So when you beat Hawthorn, it's you've got a pretty good team, a pretty good method, and they've got both at the moment.
In preparing for Carlton, do you look at the tape of that time you last played, or is it so far different from the sort of football you're playing now that it's pointless?
Oh, well, I mean, we'd like to think we're playing a bit differently now, but it's always in the back of your mind that they played really well against us last time, so we can't escape that, and we need to play better this time. We think and we know we're in better form this time, but we still have to go out and do it, and that's what we're trying to do on Saturday in front of what we hope is going to be a really big crowd here at the SCG.